What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Infinite Psyche podcast with your boy Brandon.
Matt.
I nailed it this time. Didn't mess up a beat. What's up? Told y'all I'm gonna get better at this shit as we move on. So,
And there's not so much glare, so we just little pieces at a time.
subtle improvements, man, but we like progression. We hope y'all do too. So we're very excited today. We got to talk to a couple of y'all and hear some of y'all's input. So we got our lovely list of topics at the moment. If we don't pick yours this week, we decided we're just gonna keep building on these. We're gonna keep taking
keep 'em in
topics. We're gonna keep tossing and filling this bowl up so we have more stuff to draw from. So
stay tuned. You might get pulled for a topic, but we'll give you a shout out and we'll call you out for it. So we appreciate it. Keep them coming.
please, yeah, we love this stuff, man. We're excited. We're glad with the momentum we've been able to keep up. So.
And we're picking our other topic at the end of the episode, so stay to the end to see what the next topic is.
Yeah, boy. All right, Matt. I'll give you the pleasure, whatever the word is. Boom.
Let's see. The topic for today: anxiety.
Oh.
This is from Allie, and this is a really good topic: anxiety. Thank you, Allie, for the topic.
So I know some of my homies looked at me and like, "Oh, Brandon, what are you, bruh? This is you all day. What are you gonna say?" I made that sound way too positive. But
So anxiety, man. Speaking of anxiety, I think every time we record these episodes, I still have a bit of anxiety. Like this is episode 4 now, but I'm still nervous every time we start the camera. I think that's just something that it's really hard to fight off, right?
for sure.
I mean, when you're about to go into a fight, right? The adrenaline kicks in and you're anxious. Even if you're a professional fighter and you've been training, you're going to get anxious. So I think we can all agree that everyone suffers from anxiety.
Oh yeah, man. It's the pre-fight jitters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some people who they'll see people for me. I'm a trembler. Before I'm about to get into a fight or that type of scenario, I start to tremble a little bit. My body starts shaking. I get a little just a little shaky because my my anxiety and my adrenaline's building up.
Yeah.
People seem to mistake that for fear. No, it's not fear, man. That's my body getting rid of every excess nerve I don't need so I can come whip your ass.
I wonder if it's easy for people to confuse fear and anxiety.
Oh, 100%, bro. Because it's people who don't understand or haven't dealt with anxiety have probably dealt with fear at one point in their life.
Because they feel close, but they're completely different.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it feels close, but it's not the same thing.
Oh, it's definitely different.
It's kind of like when you go to take an exam, right? Let's say you and me were in a study group and we studied our ass off and we were ready for that quiz. When you're going to go and take, let's say the final or the midterm, you're going to be anxious.
Yeah.
You're going to be shaking your knee under the table and just trying to get through and get out of there. But it doesn't mean you're afraid because you're prepared.
Yeah.
I know that anxiety is going to come with that. We just can't confuse the two.
No, for sure.
Because you will be prepared for situations and you can't let anxiety hold it back.
No, man.
But
That's also the tough part with anxiety, and why I feel it is separate from fear. Because I've been fearful of doing things, but then I went and tried it, and I was like, oh, okay, and I never had a tremble or anything about it again.
Yeah.
And I've had things where I've done it hundreds of times already, but I still get that, like we just talked about, I still get that little bit of anxiety that creeps in, even though I've already done it a bunch.
So what would you think is the best way to separate and identify anxiety from fear?
I think looking at yourself and how you feel in the moment, or if you can even hone in on that.
Yeah.
Because I know with me, once my anxiety kicks in, man, my brain is trying to compute and do 100 million things at one time.
Seriously.
So I can't sit and try to rationalize something or try to focus in exactly on how I'm feeling. I'm pretty much on fight or flight mode whenever I'm really going through an anxiety attack.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So in those moments, I've learned that I'm better off being by myself and just kind of getting away from just people in general. That way I don't flip out or just, I'm not an inherently violent person or nothing like that.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with anxiety and it's got a grip on you at the time,
Yep.
you're just trying to get the hell out. And whatever is going to try to stop you from getting out gets knocked out the way.
So, what do you think are the dangers of excessive anxiety or not checking anxiety when it comes, or not having a way of coping with it? What are some of the dangers that can come with that?
Definitely overreactions.
Yeah.
Like people who have violent tendencies.
Yeah.
Sometimes anxiety doesn't give them an excuse for it, but they just, like I told you, it puts you in fight or flight mode sometimes. Yeah. And if you're in that zone, your brain's not worrying about what you're fighting or flying from.
Yeah.
It's just worried about that. So it could be a bear or it could be some 10-year-old girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if it's that feeling, those are almost the same thing at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess even when it's not something that's like fight or flight, I think that, or if you're an angry person, I think my brain immediately goes to like a wedding, right? A lot of nerves coming through. Sure. I think the danger of having an anxiety that's not coped with or having mechanisms to can lead to an irrational decision.
For sure.
That's not how you truly feel, and it's not something that truly reflects the reality that you're in and the life that you want to make. You could make a bad decision because you let anxiety get the best of your nerves. You can leave and not get married that day.
Yeah.
And you could walk out, which later you're like, oh, I'm sorry, the nerves just got to me. But the person you're marrying is like, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, you walked out on our wedding day. Like, because, there's so many things that are set up for that. So that's probably things that kick the anxiety to start. Like, money's been spent, family's there, like, this is the day. But there's just some days you got to step up to the plate. And I guess the next question is, what do you think is a good way to cope with anxiety? Like, how do you handle it and check it when it comes? Or what have you personally done? I don't know if there's a right way. I'm not a psychologist.
Yeah. Like with so many things, humans are all different. So it varies from person to person. I think once you figured out how when you're about to enter that mode, you got to have a default. So something that to go to when you're feeling that. Yeah. For me, my default is go play a video game. Go outside and smoke. Separate yourself from the scenario.
Gotcha.
As soon as possible. And once I realized that, I'm like, okay, I'm here. I gotta just do that. I let myself focus on that so I can not let it affect whoever else is around me. And honestly, man, sometimes it does. And that's always the tough part because people might not know what's going on inside your head. Anxiety is not like you don't just start turning blue in the face or there's
he's anxious. Look at him. Yeah. He's all blue in the face. It's Papa Smurf over here.
Exactly. No. It doesn't happen like that. Someone could literally look like they're chilling, but their brain's running 100 miles an hour.
That's facts.
And then next thing you know, you just switch. So
yeah,
I think you have to take a long look at yourself and begin to understand what triggers your anxiety.
Yeah.
And like I said, finding a good default when you feel it coming on.
So maybe just being present in your experiences. It's kind of like a muscle, right?
Definitely.
Being able to check anger. There's anger management. Being able to check your sorrow or your being overexcited. Throughout life, we've been taught on those emotions, but anxiety is something very new, at least that I've experienced in my late 20s. I don't remember being trained for it as a kid. Like, are you anxious? Because kids get anxious all the time. When they say like, what do they say? They say something. There's something that I read in a book about children where it says like they'll say, "My tummy hurts," and they're not sick. That just they're dealing with anxiety and they don't know how to verbalize that. So we deal with it since we were young.
For sure, man.
But as an adult, what I've realized, I want to say meditation because like meditation for me is actually a lot harder to achieve than people like make it out to be. Like I've always struggled meditating.
Yeah, me too, bro.
So what I found is like. One time I had an anxiety attack. I was in the Yellow Deli and I had a lot of mate.
So you just
a lot of mate. I think I had about like 14 cups.
Damn.
Yeah, okay. And like
I don't think I've ever heard of that before, but
it's not like caffeine because like there's not like a spike like that, but it kind of stays. So you have like a focus. And I was doing homework, and the problem was that an anxiety attack happened, obviously, because I'm already anxious as it is. And as the place started to fill up, it kind of like struck, and I called 911 because I was like, I'm gonna die, man. Like, so I went downstairs, and there was a fire truck that came, and I was like, I feel really bad, but I really don't know what's going on. They're like, explain, and then they were like, okay, yeah, you're having an anxiety attack, and they literally just like kind of calmed down at that point. They were getting ready to go, and he's like, just do your alphabet A to Z and take deep breaths each time. And that worked. It worked really well.
Nice.
I still had it for a couple hours, but that really helped with the actual anxiety attack.
For sure.
So maybe when anxiety comes, that works too. Just doing the alphabet, counting from 1 to 100, just taking deep breaths. Like,
For sure.
I know you get short of breath, but as deep as you can, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But it was nuts, man. Like, and that's when I realized at that time that anxiety was an issue in my life.
Yeah.
Smoking weed helps sometimes. Sometimes that actually will increase anxiety.
Yeah.
You just got to know your own body.
Exactly.
And you have to learn your own coping mechanisms. And I think like what you said is a great way to start, is when to be able to recognize when you have it.
Yeah.
And identify the issue before you create the solution. And the solution could be some of the things I said or some of the things you said. And so,
Facts.
yeah. Have you ever had like an anxiety attack before?
100%, man.
What's the craziest anxiety attack you've had?
Mine was nuts only because of the amount of time that had elapsed, and I didn't realize.
Gotcha.
So, I can't remember the entirety of what had happened the day before, but I had like a super crappy day beforehand. This was like somewhat soon after I had gotten my DUI.
Oh shit.
And so I was driving, but like under specific rules and whatnot. And, I was supposed to go to work this one day, and just a bunch of things just weren't happening. I barely had any money in the tank. I was, like I said, just dealing with that. I got halfway to work, and I was just thinking about all this, and then knowing I was going to have to go in to close. I pulled over into this gas station, and like, I just felt like all those thoughts were just going, and I just was locked on them. And I was holding the steering wheel with my car on, and I was just gripping it until next thing you know, my knuckles are turning white, and I've got grooves and like cuts in my hand. And I've been sitting there for like an hour and a half.
Yep.
So I ended up just calling my store and being like, yo, I can't come in. Like, I feel terrible. I'm dying right now. I don't
needed
know what's
the
going
day.
on.
Yeah.
So I got out of there. I ended up just going home. I spent most of the day kind of just like in like a weird state. I think I bought like maybe like a beer from like the store. It was like the $2 I had. Yeah. Just because I didn't have any weed or anything at the time either.
Just something to relax.
I needed something because I was bugging, man, and I didn't.
You need to get your mind off of it.
Yeah, and I didn't at the time. I didn't have as much of a control over my mental, I suppose. So that was a big learning thing for me because I know I don't ever want to be caught out and about, and that shit just happened to me. You know what I mean? Especially like, for instance, I went to my homie's concerts, gang people there. Yeah. Busting an anxiety attack while I'm out there by myself. That wouldn't be a good thing, So I've learned to handle it better when I'm in public scenarios. Yeah. Because of that. But that was a tough one for me, man. Yeah. Like that, I look back at that one specifically just because, like,
it affected you physically.
Yeah, exactly.
It definitely, anxiety, and it can physically affect you. It is nuts. Like, I went to sleep. Now, this might have been the coffee in that situation, but I went to sleep when I got back up to the Yellow Deli's cafe, and I woke up like 3 times, like, just, you can't sleep. Yeah. So even resting, you got to check that somehow. And I like the way that you said that, just kind of like get your mind off it. Maybe everyone has different ways of doing that. So if it's like video games for you, or if it's smoking weed for you, or if it's not smoking weed for you, whatever it is, like, identify what works. Exactly. It takes time. It's a muscle. There's no, like, at least that I know of, no solution. Again, I'm not a psychologist, so I just make music.
See, I feel like that gives us a reason to be able to speak on this. Some of the best music that's been created has been by people who've gone through some crazy shit,
Well, you brought up music, man. That's a really good point. Going on stage or performing in people in general, that, to me, like, people know, like, I'm comfortable. I'll sing in front of some people. But, like, just recently, I was at Maricosta last week, and I was playing this cover that I'm learning. It's new. And I sat down. I was nervous as fuck. I'm gonna play piano in the cafeteria. Well, everyone's there, and the acoustics just ring out throughout the room. They just ring out, and I was gonna sing. So that alone is very vulnerable. Well, turns out while I'm halfway through, I hear in the background these people are like, "Boo, boo, you suck." But you know what? That wasn't the worst because I wasn't afraid. Like that, if that's the worst, I'm like, oh, then I'm good. Like I can take that. Like I got thick skin. Like that's cool. But that's what I was nervous about. That's what I was anxious about. So it's like I think sometimes facing the reality
For sure.
maybe helps.
Yeah.
I would rather get booed on stage every time I first walk on, because then I'd be like, oh, I got this, man. Like I already dealt with the worst, man. It's like taking the worst lick in the face in a fight and then knowing like the dude's gassed afterwards, like,
Yeah, Stunzo, bro.
I'm good.
Stunzo. Oh, yeah. But sometimes you just need that first lick, you know? Some people thrive better off of taking that first L or that first shot.
Yeah.
You know? I know for me, one of my worst performances ever was this little backyard thing we were trying to do at the homie's house. You know, just having a kickback. And, you know, me and my group of dudes, we've been doing music for a minute now. So like we went up there fairly confident. We were just gonna kill it, you know. We had our songs down. All of us had ourselves. We had been practicing. We were good. But see, we got in that confident mind state to where like we're so good. Let's drink half a bottle of alcohol each. And then let's try to do it.
Confident.
You know. So and then obviously I messed up. The homies, unfortunately, all ended up not doing so hot either, you know.
Well, I mean,
but here's the thing, man. It's like afterwards, like we still all tried. We still all did what we could. Did we all jack up? Yeah, we all did. All of us did. But honestly, when I went into the crowd afterwards, I got a lot of love. A lot of people walked around and was like, "Hey, man, like I know that was a little shaky, but honestly, that song was cool. Like I like what you did up there. You know what I mean?"
I think when it comes to music venues, people just there to have a good time.
Yeah, man,
and
for
like,
sure.
But see, the thing is, you're an artist, and like I always say, like artists are athletes, and you want to make sure that you hit your mark at the best you can. So like you're a little harder on yourself.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think that's why I was nervous initially. But like when you take that lick, right? It's like that's the worst that can happen. So at that point, you're just trying to prove yourself. Yeah. And you focus on it. It's like a drive that almost shows up where you're like, oh, okay, well let me fix this. Just wait. Yep. I'm gonna do better right now. Yep. You know, like in a fight, you're like, oh, well, I can take that hit. You know what? I'm already losing, so we're gonna go from here. Yeah. Only up, you know.
Or down real hard, but you know. I mean, that's the whole point behind that is you got to think calculated once you get at that point. Yeah. You know, you gotta realize everything once you're at that point and be like, oh, okay, I see now. I have the tools or I have the knowledge now because I've experienced that. Do I use it in the right way or do I keep going out and making the same mistake?
That's true. That's true too. Yeah.
So.
I mean, you guys let us know in the comments too, like when we're talking about this, like if you've ever dealt with anxiety or had an anxiety attack, like let us know. Cause like I'm pretty sure everyone that's watching this has dealt with it in some severe fashion. For sure. Especially people in their mid-20s. Like I'm sure everyone, I'm just saying from every peer that I have in my, like millennials, every millennial that I've spoken to has dealt with so much anxiety. And I'm just trying to figure out why that is. Has it always been there? And just like the older generations just try to tough it out and didn't speak about it, but now it's being vocalized. Yeah. So it's like I said, I would have loved to have understood that as a kid.
Oh, bro.
You know? So just telling my mom, my tummy hurts. Why? I don't know. And it's about to be a soccer game. Yeah. I'm just nervous. Yeah. You know? But they're like, oh, maybe he's hungry. Yeah. Have some McDonald's, son.
Go throw all that up on the field afterwards.
Enjoy your pink slime burger.
Oh, Lord. It's terrible. So terrible.
Chocolate milkshake made
I'm not
50%
my kids
sugar.
ain't eating at McDonald's. Sorry. Ugh. I'll make them some grass-fed meat with some gluten-free burgers on first. Nah, and it'll be danker than McDonald's. Eh?
Like, I'm vegan, but I'll never tell you not to eat meat. But I'll tell you this. Like, don't eat things that aren't even food. Like, if it's chemicals, like, just go and eat makp then.
Yeah,
like,
or something, man. Go just drink a bunch of bleach. You'll be
fine. Same thing.
It'll be a quicker death. You know what I mean? So, as far as I do want to touch on one thing you said I thought was, a real big thing, at least definitely for me, myself. is noticing it as a kid, noticing it as a child.
Yeah.
So, um, growing up, I was an emotional kid. I was a quiet kid. You know, I wasn't the most outgoing. I wasn't the popular kid at school, nothing like that. Um, I had, I now realize I had bad anxiety from like sixth grade see, through now.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't kind of know. I didn't really. I remember not feeling it as much in like elementary school because I had a bunch of friends with the school I had been growing up with at the time. But then I moved schools from fifth to sixth grade. I switched districts. You know, so I went from Vista to Oceanside, and you know I got put in a school full of a bunch of kids bigger than me, and I had no idea who any of them were. You know what I mean? And so for the next several years, I didn't know how to really handle my emotions. I didn't really know how to like deal with how I was feeling. And sometimes it would turn into anger or just me getting sad or crying real bad or something like that. And my parents loved them to death. But they didn't know. They had no idea that that's what it was. You know, they were raised with the idea that if you
gotta tough it out.
You gotta tough it out. Yeah. You gotta be strong. You know, you just gotta. It'll get better. You just have to, get used to it. Which you obviously, some of that is true in a sense. You do have to grow up and get used to it and get understand. But at the same time, if you realize that, hey, this kid's acting out, there's probably a reason for that. The kid's not acting out just because he just wants to be a bad kid, or he just wants to be upset, or he wants to. No, none of that. I didn't want to be upset. I didn't ever want to be a bad kid, or I wasn't a bad kid. But I didn't want to act out, or react the way I did. But I didn't know how else to act.
I wonder if it's because they misidentify anxiety as being shy, and they say, "Oh, well, just go out and do a sport or something," and like they think that'll fix it when it's not really solving the root of the issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Because anxiety is a different beast entirely from being shy. That's being thrown out there would just literally cause a panic attack at that point.
Yeah, man.
I mean, like you're already nervous and anxious, and then you throw yourself into an even more higher level of that. It can totally like make the kid actually vomit if their tummy's upset. It can make them just like regress even more and then have a trauma associated with socializing.
Yeah.
But I think that, like you said, if it was addressed as, okay, well, let's find ways to calm him down. Let's see what's stressing the kid out. Then maybe he'll naturally become more social and associate at a young age like, oh, sociability isn't something that will cause me anxiety. Do better in business. I don't know,
For sure.
These are just theories, though. Maybe I keep saying I'm not a psychologist. Maybe I should read some psychology books.
Well, we have experience. We have life experience, and that's all we can really talk about and what we can draw from, that's what we've been doing. We haven't been quoting this book on this lecture from 10 million years ago, It's been all personal experience, and I think that is more relatable to some people than the guy with the PhD.
You guys always get one take from us. We will always lay it out like we do not know everything. No. We just like to talk and discuss these things, and we appreciate that you guys are starting to send in topics. And again, thank you, Allie, because these things kind of help us kind of visit topics that we may not have organically come across.
Yeah.
So it's just it's an interesting thing to think about because I've definitely given it thought. I just never had to talk like this before.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I know for me, I want awareness for like anxiety and stuff. Obviously, it's very much a thing now. Excuse me. I also don't want people to get confused with me saying that, oh, we need to be coddling kids or we need to be.
So what do you think people should do? You said you want to bring awareness. What do you think that should be the takeaway from this episode about anxiety? Like, should people,
don't blanket reactions. Don't blanket the reasons why people do things. The second you just, it's this reason. Like, don't do that. I think that should be, and anxiety aside, there's a couple different topics that we need to stop blanket reasoning things. And because it's not, we're all so different and also the same at the same time. That we should be able to be like, okay, I know I felt crazy about this at one point. Maybe I can put myself in their shoes.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
So, I think, and with like I said, with kids, just talk to them. They don't know how to properly express themselves maybe very well yet, but you could get in their heads. Like what, do you want to go to school today? Or why don't you want to go to school today? you know. And if they don't really have a good reason for you, you know, maybe talk to a teacher, maybe see what's going on in the classes, you know. Be proactive in your kid's life.
Yeah.
You know, that way you can figure it out and just say, oh, no, the kid's just shy. Oh, he just has anger issues. Or, oh, he's just uncontrollable. No, figure your kid out.
Yeah. I think the takeaway is very parallel with what you're saying. And touching back, just take time to, not just for yourself, but for those that are involved in your life, just take time to identify how and why your body's reacting the way that it is.
Yes.
Because it only benefit all your relationships, including the relationship you have with yourself.
For sure.
Because, like, going back to the wedding situation, you don't want to make the wrong decision because anxiety has got the best of you, or you misidentify it as fear. Most of the time, you know what you're going to do. The universe lines things up for you, and you just got to step up, handle what you need to handle, calm the anxiety, because afterwards, when the anxiety is gone and the dust settles, you want to make sure that you've made the decision that's going to set you up in the future for the plans that you've set for yourself.
For sure.
And
100%.
Yeah, that's what I think. But before we conclude, we should definitely pick another topic. Yeah. I'm going to have you pick this one.
All right.
And we'll give a shout out to the name.
Which, real quick, Ali, thank you. I don't know
Thank
I
you.
said it yet.
That was a great topic.
Appreciate the topic. This is a very close to home one for me.
Yeah,
you know,
same.
So appreciate that. So we got a few
man.
more here. Getting ready to pick it.
Dun dun.
Got one.
Dun dun dun.
And the topic for next week will be, boom, regret. I don't know if y'all want to see that.
Regret. Regrets.
By Jessica at Just Don't Stress. Thank you, Jessica. We'll be talking about your topic next week. Please, y'all, we got a couple more topics in here to choose from.
We only have 4. We need more.
Please give us more. Even if you've given us the ones in the bowl already, just throw them our way. Don't even care. We could use them. So.
And also, you guys, please make sure you hit subscribe, hit that notification bell if you haven't. It helps us in numerous ways we can't even get into, man. But we can't even, like, we have certain goals that YouTube is kind of like prohibited us. So you doing that helps us. Definitely. And again, it helps you. So you know when these episodes come up, just in case you missed the Instagram post that it's up. So
exactly. You know, we want to stay in touch with y'all. We want this to be as much of an integral process as possible, because, you know, as much as we like to sit here and talk to each other, we like perspectives. We like other sides of the coin. We like ideas, you know, and
we like conversation.
Yeah, man.
That's why we do this, really.
Exactly.
So we want to keep upgrading. We want to get nicer cameras, nicer mics. And again, that just comes with you guys literally just watching and supporting, enjoying the content. So if you did, you know, give us a thumbs up. If you didn't, give us a thumbs down. Like, we got thick skin. We can handle it. It just lets us know that we need to improve certain things. And, like, trust me, we were looking at every aspect to make sure that this is smoother and smoother every time.
Oh, yeah.
So we just get right to the topics. And, again, we want to bring you in. So in the comments, like we said earlier, write down an anxiety attack or a panic attack you've had. Share your experience so we can talk about that. We're going to start putting together an after show where we actually discuss this stuff. So, yeah, I think that's pretty good. And the topic.
That was a good topic.
That was a good topic. And regrets is going to be a good one. I'm going to get a tattoo. No regrets.
Lord. We're going to hit y'all with some uplifting ones here too.
Yeah,
you know,
there's some good ones. There's some good ones.
Yeah, there's some good ones in here that are definitely more positive note. You know, we're not the negative Psyche podcast. We're the infinite Psyche, which means it spans across all lanes of life. You know. So, thank y'all for tuning in. We are very much appreciative for y'all stopping by. Hope to see y'all next week. And my exit is not as great as my entrance, but it's cool. We still here. Have a blessed weekend, y'all.
Later, guys.